Also, you will learn every time you hear from this man. It is our Leafs reporter, hockey reporter, tennis guru. It is Mark Masters. How you doing, my friend?
I am doing very well. Good to be back talking with you.
All right. So, Mark, are you ready and prepared to disappoint me greatly?
Yes, as always. Don't even have to ask.
How was Las Vegas? Please tell me you took in a show, you hit the tables, you went to a bar, a club, you were with humans, you had a great meal. It's one of the culinary capitals of North America. Give me the dirt of all the great things you did in Vegas.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I will say I think the highlight has been I got my second dose of the vaccine yesterday.
All right, congrats.
Which of course I'm not fully vaccinated, so everyone's wandering around here with their masks off. I kind of feel a little like the odd man out. It's that to that degree. So I'm still keeping it relatively safe. Obviously, I'm not fully vaccinated, so I'm not 100% allowed to enjoy the restrictions. But I certainly enjoyed getting a haircut, which was much needed. I must say, first time in 7 months. So that was good. I feel like a new man, younger, and it's certainly a positive because it's a little warm here at Cause these days. It's 47 degrees. So,
oh my God.
Nice when the Vegas locals are telling you it's hot, it's hot. Yeah, it's record-breaking stuff this week. I think it was the hottest hockey game temperature we ever had in Game 2 here in Vegas. So basically, I'm just trying to, they don't have to tell me to eat outside. I would, sometimes, prefer. Actually, you can't really eat outside. It's just uncomfortable. It's just really tough, right? I mean, they do have the sprays going and stuff.
They got the misters. The
misters are going, but boy, the heat, it just seeps into your body, right? You just walk outside for a little bit, and even a tough guy like me, it's going to have an impact. So the haircut, the vaccine dose, they're two very big highlights, and just being in a building with 20,000 fans or whatever it was, 18,500 fans, that was pretty cool because I hadn't experienced that since March 2020 when the Leafs beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. Big game back then and all looked well, but you know what happened next.
So you got a haircut and a vaccination. You have the same itinerary as my 75-year-old mother. All right, I have a couple follow-ups, and then we'll get into hot hockey talk. How are those disastrous sideburns of yours? Cleaned up?
Gone.
Okay. Well, that's good.
We got to get you watching Sports Center and That's Hockey a bit more. That's Hockey.
I missed it.
They showed the video of me getting my sideburns, the infamous sideburns, cut off. Yeah. The person who cut my hair was like, it's been a while. I kept some. I'm going to sell them. Obviously, I know a lot of people in Masters Nation grew very fond of the sideburns. So it was time, but, some give the money to charity or whatever. But, the sideburns are gone.
I think you'd be able to cure a couple diseases with the money you'll raise for those sideburns. And then finally, what was the best meal you had?
Oh, well, I got to tell you, Vegas is a bit of an expensive town. But they give us a box lunch in the press box, which was really good the other day at Turkey Club. Excellent stuff. I really appreciate that from the Vegas Golden Knights. And we haven't had anything too crazy yet. But we're here. We're staying down here, obviously, with the restrictions. We're staying down for the entire, as long as this series is going, we're going to be in Las Vegas. We're not going to go across the border yet. So I'm sure we'll figure something out and have a nice meal before we get out of here.
I had predicted you would have done nothing, and your meal was a ham sandwich. I was almost right. It was a Turkey Club. It wasn't ham. What did Montreal do in Game 2 that you feel is repeatable for tonight as they take on Vegas for Game 3?
Were you having any flashbacks to like the Leafs losing to the Habs in watching that game at all? Because I was.
Yes.
Like slow starts, which have been an issue for Vegas the entire playoffs. They've been outscored 15-8. And the Habs have been a good starting team. The first period was their best period against the Leafs, and certainly they've been really locked in early in games. I guess Dominic Ducharme deserves some credit for that, the coaching staff, the leadership probably. So they started strong both in Game 1 and in Game 2, the difference being in Game 2 they actually had some goals, and in Game 2 the Golden Knights did not have Chandler Stevenson. Remember when the Leafs didn't have John Tavares, the top six center?
Yep.
It took a bit of time to adjust to that. So they had a couple of younger guys in there, Keegan Kolesar, Nicola Watt. It wasn't the smoothest adjustment. The top forwards on the Golden Knights have yet to score in this series. They only got one goal from a forward, actually. They've been getting goals from the defense. It kind of reminded me, Brody had a goal, Muzzin had two, Riley had a big goal. I mean, they were getting
you're right.
Sandin had a goal. Like, I was kind of flashing back, like, this is, they're doing it again, basically, Montreal. And when you look at special teams, the Vegas Golden Knights penalty killers, looking at the numbers, they've just gone past Toronto at the bottom of the 16 playoff teams. They're now 15th among the playoff teams in terms of power play percentage, and they were 0 for 2 in Game 2, and they could not. It was a momentum buster for them. They couldn't get set up really for the most part. Maybe right at the end of the second one. So I was having a lot of flashbacks watching that. The Habs are kind of we know what their formula is, and they jump out. They can play with the lead. They can clog the middle of the ice, and the Golden Knights weren't able to get through it and ran out of time. By the end of it, they were getting chances, but they just ran out of time. And Carey Price, I'm still not 100% sure how he stopped that Alec Martinez shot in the second period in Game 2. I'm not sure. I guess John Liu asked him, and he said, I've been using my extremities, but you slow it down. It's an amazing save. And I didn't think Marc-Andre Fleury was the better goalie in Game 2, so he didn't look good on a couple of the goals. So the goaltending was in favor of Montreal. The special teams, their fast start, that's what stood out.
Great, thanks, Mark. Now I'm having total Leaf Montreal flashbacks. I'm now going to have to go and stare at their salary and just look at Marner and Matthews' salary. Thank you, Mark.
Where do you sit in terms of, like, if Montreal does this to Vegas somehow?
Yeah.
And obviously the gamblers around here are still betting on Vegas to win this series. But if they somehow were to basically do the same thing to the Knights that they did to the Leafs, does that make you feel better, or does it make you feel like, Jesus, the Leafs could have been, in the Cup final this year? Where do you fall on that?
Oh, I fall firmly on the negative side. How could I anywhere else? I see what you're.
Yep.
I see what you're saying, but the problem is they also lost the year before to Columbus, and they also were up 3-2 to Boston the year before. So it's like plaque
and led in the third
teeth.
period of Game 7 in 2018.
Yeah,
and we're up 2-1 in 2017.
Yeah.
But other than that, they've been a smooth ride here the last few years in Toronto.
Mark Masters, our Leafs reporter, joining us here on TSN 1050. Speaking of the Toronto Maple Leafs, sort of a two-part question. I don't know. If you read all the tea leaves, it feels like Zach Hyman is gone. It will be gone. They won't be able to afford him. He had a great year. He deserves that $5.5-6 million that another team may be able to offer him. So I'm curious, if he does go, your thoughts on just what next year's team. And I'm not going to do who should they go get, but it's more how much of an impact will that have on the Leafs, and could this mean that they're going to have to rely more on a guy like Jason Spezza?
It's a hard guy to replace, really hard guy to replace, and I'll choose to celebrate the good times with Zach Hyman. I mean, what a career he's carved out for himself here, considering the Leafs got him basically for nothing from Florida. Our old friend Greg McKegg. I mean, it's been an amazing run for him. So I'll choose to remember the good times, but it's not, I don't know. Like, I mean, first of all, he's a leader on the team, so you lose that. He wore an A for those god-awful retro jerseys or whatever it was. But at least, that was it just showed that they wanted to acknowledge how big of a leader he is on this team. A team that, was more consistent in the regular season, but Hyman's Mr. Consistency. And just obviously we know the grittiness that he plays with. The penalty kill has had its issues at times. He's one of their better penalty killers up front. Like, it's just, there's a long list of things that are going to be really hard. And this is why it's such a gut punch that they weren't able to at least win around this year, is that I'm sure Dubas is going to do everything he can, but it's not going to be easy to make this a better roster next year. That's not saying they can't be greater than the sum of their parts, but it's not easy to, like, there's nothing, maybe, somehow Foligno wants to come back because it did not work out, but he's kind of a poor man's Hyman. So his offense was amazing this year in terms of what he could do, and they challenged him to drive the net. So I don't know what to say. It's going to be a really big hole for the Leafs to fill.
What's on tap for you tonight? I mean, obviously, tomorrow. Tonight, obviously, watching the game, doing hits on SportsCenter. Maybe you'll be there with Jay Onright, some Gino Retta. That's hockey action. But what's on the itinerary for Mark Masters after that?
I actually think tonight's going to be exciting. We're going to a sports book, going to Circa Sportsbook, and they advertise themselves as the largest sports book in the world. They actually have this cool thing called Stadium Swim, where people are out in the pool and they have these big TV monitors.
I saw that.
And,
are you going there?
Really cool. Yeah. It's really cool. It's pretty new. Yeah.
What's going to be your bathing suit of choice?
I didn't pack a bathing suit, which I guess shouldn't surprise you. I probably should. That would be pretty cool to do my report from the pool, eh?
You went to Vegas in 46 degrees weather. There's a pool around every corner, and you didn't bring a bathing suit.
No, I didn't. And now in retrospect, I do. I'm not a big swimmer. So I didn't, I got my suits. I wanted all my shirts and ties. It's been a while, cause I haven't packed for a road trip like this, I guess, since the World Juniors. So I was going to make some mistakes. I resigned myself to that. But the good news is it's not that hard to find a suit. And maybe if I annoy our photojournalist David Parker a lot, he'll push me in with my suit, which would probably feel refreshing considering again the heat here. So we'll see how it goes.
Mark, you were incredibly predictable. Everything on sports, you were spot on. Everything non-sports, you wildly disappointed me as always. But a pleasure. Thank you as always, Mark, for taking time for all this nonsense.
Check out the new do, cause it's really, I think you're going to like it. It'll be finally something positive for you, for me.
I'm going to tsn.ca. I'm going to go find the video. I want to see them cutting your hair and those sideburns.
Yeah, Jay on Wright says I look like a 12-year-old, but I think it's good to skew young. So check it out.
Always is. Take care, my friend.
Thank you.
That is Mark Masters, our Leafs reporter.